Monday morning training. Oh, it's one hell of a start of the week. Doesn't matter how fit I get or I am, this is just horrible. And we've been doing this for years and years and years, back to back. That's why every time we finish, Dennis takes the time, notes it in his phone. Then after training, he puts it in his computer and he has data for years and years. From when we start prep and what the times are when we finish camp. So yeah, it's always a challenge to stay as fit as possible and just to keep looking at the data like, hey, last preparation or the preparation before that, you were faster or you were better. What's the reason? So we keep analyzing the data, yeah, to be better every time.
This is exercise I don't like, but this is exercise make me
Usyk versus Rico is far from a typical heavyweight boxing match. On one side, you have one of the most technically gifted boxers in the world, and on the other, a dominant kickboxing champion stepping into the boxing ring. What makes it even more surprising is that a world title is somehow tied to the fight. That alone has divided fans and analysts. Some people are excited by how unusual and massive the event is, while others strongly question whether it should be happening in the first place. Because of that, reactions across the boxing world have been mixed. Here's a look at what several fighters and analysts have been saying about this unusual matchup.
Just away from yourself, what do you make of the fight between Oleksandr Usyk and Rico Verhoeven?
I mean, I think Rico's getting wrote off.
Did you come across him?
Listen, I've been training with Rico for the last 10 years, so I'm obviously pretty Rico biased. Rico's a good friend of mine. But he's a big man. He's had a lot of fights. Fair enough, they're fighting a different sport. But he can, like, if he hits him, it could be over. Do I think that Rico's a better boxer than Usyk? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that at all. But I think that he's getting wrote off and he's definitely got a chance of winning.
I think it's about 15 years now, and I've always done the boxing side with him. So obviously he's a kickboxer, and his trainer Dennis Crowe-Yildiz, you know, it's a close-knit team, but I've always been a part of their team. So, but I've always worked on the boxing with his hands to implement and blend in with his kicks, because I don't know nothing about kickboxing. So obviously, I just worked on the hands and his boxing ability. But he's been around boxing. He's sparred with a lot of top boxers in the world. He's but ultimately for kickboxing. So now we're involved in the boxing. Obviously, that's my job, isn't it? So, and you know, I've always had a close relationship with Rico and Dennis. It's like, you know, they are very close to me. So they've showed me a lot of loyalty over the years, and and it's my turn now to replay that loyalty by getting him in getting him in the best boxing shape of his life, because that's what he's going to need.
And then I'm chasing a fucking I just want a unification fight. You know what I mean? Like, if these boys can make these things happen like that, surely they can make. You know what I mean? Like, this is. It's fucking crazy, the fight nights that are getting put together, and then people are thinking, why did you sign with Zuffa? Like, look at the track record. Look what they're doing, bro. Like, it's just to me, bro, if you're not dealing with these people, bro, you're missing out. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, man, they're willing to move at a fast pace. They got a lot to prove in a short time. You know, they've got a plan. So, you know, you better everyone needs to pick their game up.
This is it. Let me tell you, he's as good as fight as anybody he's been in the ring with. Trust me on it. He's been around me a long time, Rico. Rico can box. He's not an idiot by any stretch of imagination. You know, he'll give a good account of himself. Don't worry about that. So anybody thinks, oh, kickboxer, this and that, they need to think again. Because if he was just a kickboxer, he's going to stand stiff-legged and stand there, then yeah, I can see. But he's had a lot of. He's been around me a long time, Rico. He's 15 years with me, so he knows the game. Not a fool.
The trainer involved makes it clear that Rico isn't walking into this situation blindly. He has known Rico for many years, worked with him on his boxing for a long time, and seen him train around elite fighters. He understands that kickboxing and boxing are two completely different sports, and he openly admits that this is a huge step. However, he believes Rico's understanding of boxing is better than many people assume. That's exactly why the focus has been on preparing him physically and mentally as much as possible, because against someone like Usyk, preparation is the only chance to compete.
I think it's about 15 years now, and I've always done the boxing side with him. So obviously he's a kickboxer, and his trainer Dennis Crowe did. You know, it's a close-knit team, but I've always been a part of their team. So, but I've always worked on the boxing with his hands to implement and blend in with his kicks, because I don't know nothing about kickboxing. So obviously, I just worked on the hands and his boxing ability. But he's been around boxing. He's sparred with a lot of top boxers in the world. He's but ultimately for kickboxing.
At the same time, he remains realistic about the challenge ahead. He knows Oleksandr Usyk sits at the very top of the boxing world and describes him as a difficult puzzle to solve. Rico is stepping into Usyk's territory, not the other way around, and that changes the entire dynamic of the fight. Still, instead of viewing it as a dangerous risk, he sees it as a challenge worth taking. In fact,
no, if you look at his kickboxing fights, it's not the way he fights. So, yeah, this is look, this is no easy task. This is Usyk is like in a Rubik's cube. Look, I respect Usyk, but what I respect Rico's got it. He's got it all to do there, because it's another sport. It's a different sport altogether from what he's doing. Although he's been doing the boxing, and he knows the boxing pretty well, it's still his sport is not boxing. So this is a transition he's got to make, but it's one that he's looking forward to, and it's one that, to be honest, it's one that I'm looking forward to, because I like big challenges, and that's what this is. So I'm excited about it.
He also pushes back against the idea that Rico has absolutely no chance. In his opinion, many people are dismissing Rico far too quickly. From his perspective, Rico has spent years around boxing, gained valuable experience, and developed more skills than people give him credit for. He's not claiming that Rico is the favorite in the fight, but he does believe it's unfair to act.
This is it. Let me tell you, he's as good as fight as anybody he's been in the ring with. Trust me on it. He's been around me a long time, Rico. Rico can box. He's not an idiot by any stretch of imagination. You know, he'll give a good account of himself. Don't worry about that. So anybody thinks, oh, kickboxer, this and that, they need to think again, because if he was just a kickboxer, he's going to stand stiff-legged and stand there, then yeah, I can see. But he's had a lot of. He's been around me a long time, Rico. He's 15 years with me, so he knows the game. He's not a fool.
Dave Allen looked at the Oleksandr Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven fight from a very traditional boxing standpoint, and he didn't seem particularly convinced by it. He made it clear that his concerns aren't about Rico's ability as an athlete. In fact, Allen respects him, has met him before, and has even shared rounds of sparring with him. For Allen, the bigger issue is about the sport itself and whether this type of matchup really fits within the structure of professional boxing.
Listen, I feel we should talk about something more serious like boxing, but this is quite good fun.
No, it's all true. Everything I said is true as well.
It's all true.
Do you want to talk about Usyk
Can do.
fighting a kickboxer? Where'd you stand on that?
I know Rico Verhoeven. I actually met him in Bolton. I lived in Bolton, right? I was 20. How old was I, Joe? 21, I think.
I probably wasn't even born then.
I was, honestly, Joe might be my son. We're not sure. We're a bit confused.
I'm definitely not your son. Definitely not.
And, so anyway, there was a knock on my door. I lived in this flat, so I got a knock on the door and I thought, oh, I'm going a bit mad, mate. I'm having an happy afternoon. I was 22. Anyway, so I've gone to the door. I've opened the door, right, and I'm about to kick off because I thought one of the lads I live with. I opened the door, some fella there, absolutely ginormous, and I thought, who's this? Honestly, a bit nervous. Looked up at Rico Verhoeven, who's fighting Usyk, yeah.
Right.
Lovely fella, did a bit of sparring with him. He's actually a really good fighter, probably one of the best kickboxers there's ever been. But this is boxing, isn't it? So, and Usyk's probably the best heavyweight of the last 20 years.
He also talked about the wider impact this could have on the heavyweight division. When a champion takes part in a crossover fight like this, it can slow down the progress of other contenders waiting for their shot. Fighters who have been working their way through the rankings often end up waiting while attention shifts to a spectacle event. Because of that, Allen believes the fight would make more sense as an exhibition rather than an official title defense. From his perspective, Usyk has already achieved everything at the highest level, so if he wants to pursue fights like this for money or a different kind of challenge, that's completely his decision.
I don't really like the fight, me. You know, it shouldn't be sanctioned as a heavyweight. It should be an exhibition. Like, Usyk should give his belts up, let Wardley, Cabiel, all these upcoming heavyweights that want a chance to be the heavyweight champion. Let them do that, and you can do your exhibitions and that. Go and do them elsewhere. Make your money. I don't begrudge him because he's had an amazing career, but don't do it at the cost of other people's careers as well.
Well, that's what I was thinking about. Obviously, financially, there's an incentive to do that sort of fight. But for Usyk himself, like, what's the point of?
Again, is it money? Is it just
got to be
turn down that money, Dave?
Yeah, it's got to be just a financial thing, I think. But how much is it not?
Luke Thomas focused heavily on the title situation, which is where the fight stops making sense to him. He points out that Rico Verhoeven could receive a world title opportunity in boxing despite having very little professional boxing background. In his view, that completely disrupts the normal logic of how the sport operates. It's not meant as disrespect toward Rico, because Thomas clearly recognizes him as a legitimate champion in kickboxing. But when it comes to boxing, the leap from another sport straight into a title fight is enormous. At the same time, he doesn't frame Oleksandr Usyk as doing anything wrong. He views it more as a smart business move. For Rico, the opportunity is obvious as well. He gets a massive payday and a chance that likely wouldn't come from anywhere else. So financially, the fight makes sense for both sides, even if competitively it raises serious questions. When discussing the actual fight, Thomas takes a realistic approach. He doesn't completely dismiss Rico's chances. He acknowledges Rico's size, athleticism, and the possible age difference as factors that could make parts of the fight interesting. However, he doesn't truly believe Rico can win. At best, he thinks Rico might make the early rounds competitive. Overall, most people still expect Usyk to control the fight. That's why the matchup feels unusual from a competitive standpoint, because it lacks the level of uncertainty that usually surrounds major title fights. Teddy Atlas summed it up by saying, "This is show business." According to Atlas, Usyk has earned the right to take on a fight like this. He reminded fans that Usyk won Olympic gold, dominated the cruiserweight division, moved up to heavyweight and defeated much larger opponents. In Atlas's opinion, Usyk has already secured his legacy as one of the great heavyweights of his era. Because of that, if he wants to take part in a one-off event like this, Atlas doesn't feel it's fair to criticize him. When breaking down Rico's chances, Atlas was quite blunt. He believes they are extremely small. After studying Rico's footage, he said he didn't see the technical tools necessary to handle someone like Usyk. Atlas pointed out that Rico often stands very upright, which could leave him vulnerable to clean shots against a southpaw boxer like Usyk. That style difference could be dangerous. While Rico's right hand is clearly his strongest weapon and theoretically could trouble a southpaw, Atlas doubts it will be enough. He believes Usyk's skill set, movement and overall boxing intelligence are simply on another level. Ade Oladipo approached the Usyk vs Rico Verhoeven matchup from a slightly different angle, focusing mainly on what it means for the WBC title itself. Rather than concentrating on who might win, he questioned how the situation developed. At first, the fight appeared to be a typical crossover event built mainly around entertainment value rather than championship stakes. But when the possibility of the WBC belt being involved suddenly appeared, the entire situation changed. That shift raised concerns for him. The WBC championship has traditionally represented the highest level of competition in boxing, built through years of fighters battling their way up the rankings. Seeing an athlete from another sport potentially jump directly into that position could weaken what the title stands for. From Oladipo's perspective, that isn't fair to the boxers who have spent years earning their place in line. If someone like Rico can bypass that process, it naturally raises questions about how seriously the system is being maintained. This is why the Usyk versus Rico matchup has generated such a wide range of reactions across the combat sports world. Some believe it should never be an official title fight, while others are simply fascinated by how unusual and massive the event is. Either way, it has succeeded in grabbing attention. Watching one of boxing's elite champions face a kickboxing legend for the heavyweight crown is not something fans see every day. Because of that, plenty of questions remain about how the fight would actually unfold once the bell rings. One thing is certain though, when fight night arrives, the entire combat sports world will be watching closely. Let us know in the comments who you think wins this matchup, Usyk or Rico.